Hi, welcome to my movie on how to make a simple flower crown. So the first thing you want to do is bend the ends of your wire, which you'll need about, pretty thick gauge wire to make a solid crown. You just want to bend the end slightly, and then you're going to cut about 12 to 14 inches of ribbon to tie to each end of the bent wire. And this is where you can easily tie the crown around any size head. You may want to cut your wire a little bit shorter for children, especially like babies. Obviously their heads aren't as big, or if somebody has really thin hair or something, you might want to make it a little bit smaller. And you can do this by, like for me in this project, I just bent like a couple centimeters over, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But if you want to not cut your wire, you can just bend a larger piece. So I'm just tying this a simple knot, and I'll just show you right now what I did. Just a little piece bent over and the ribbon tied to the end. Pretty simple. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your floral tape, which is different than the ribbon. You don't want to try to do this with ribbon, it'd be way too hard. Break a long piece off. I feel like it's easier to work with when it's by itself. And then you want to stretch it out. And by stretching it out, you're actually engaging the sticky part of it. Then you're going to go to one end, that's going to be your starting end, and you want to cover up the knot and the end of the wire. And then you want to make sure that when you do these first couple turns, that you want to get that raw end of the wire really covered up. Otherwise, it could poke the person's head from the inside. And this is kind of the most tedious part because you have a super long piece of floral tape and it gets wound around the other end. But just slowly kind of work it around. And you can actually start adding flowers right here at this point if you want it to be like completely filled. But for what I'm doing, I'm just going to put a longer leaf like a few inches down from the beginning, and that'll cover the end until where the ribbon starts. If you put something on the very beginning, it's going to go toward the ribbon. You'll see what I'm saying when I put my first piece in. So I'll go about a couple inches, and we will add the first piece. So first I'm just going to show you what I picked. I just picked some random stuff out of my cooler. I got some white thistle, some spray roses, some tea roses, and Lisianthus, and then some greenery that I showed you earlier. So my first piece is going to be a leaf. I think I ended up not liking this leaf, so I changed it out for a smaller piece. You want to work, the smaller the pieces that you work with, the better for crowns. Like, you wouldn't want to use a full-size rose in a crown, just because it just ends up looking so big and chunky. So you want to have lots of little pieces, and it's nice to pre-cut your items. You don't need as much as you think, but just a bunch of little pieces. And then the shorter the stems of the piece, the better. So I'll take this Lisianthus, it's a little bit too long, sticking out too far. So I'm going to just chop those little buds off of it to make it look a little more flush with the crown. And then you want to have a decent amount of stem on there because if you do it too tight to the wire, sometimes the heads of the flower or whatever you're using will just pop off. So you kind of want to have like a good maybe 1 inch on each individual bloom. Like that piece is way too short, so I can't use it. And then you kind of wrap the floral wire around the bottom end of the stem so that there's a little bit of space for the flower to move and kind of like fit in with the other flowers. And you'll just end up with a super kind of, it won't kind of jive, it won't run well in a line if they're too tight, if that makes any sense at all. So this is kind of me just playing around with different pieces and making it work and grabbing different things and fitting them in with each other. You kind of want to try to focus everything in one, definitely in one direction. You can't start putting things the other way because then your floral tape will get backwards, and that's going to be more obvious to you when you're actually doing this. But the other thing you want to do is just kind of pick pieces that fit with each other really nicely. If your wire gets too far down, you can always just cut it off and start fresh by twisting a nice tight loop around the middle, and just starting over with a new piece of floral tape. And this is kind of the enjoyable part of it, just being creative and adding in the things that you want. So I'm just going to speed up the rest of this video, the middle part, so that it doesn't get boring. So I'm nearing the end of the crown, and now I'm just kind of focused on trying to match the other side with this side, even though the directionality is different. So you can look at one end, the greenery is going one way, and then obviously I can't have the greenery go the other way. So I'm still just gonna add a few pieces, but this is gonna be, these flowers will be behind the ear, so you won't really notice. And you can see how I kind of like focus the larger flowers in the center, in the front of the head. I'm just trying to grab a couple more pieces of this thistle that are a good size, because I didn't cut them long enough to begin with. And I'm gonna add basically thistle, and that beautiful mimosa leaf, and the rest of my spray roses for the other side. And then little buds of lisianthus to finish it up. So it looks like I have maybe like 3 or 4 more pieces to add. I'm gonna make sure I grab really small, nice size greens and the little balls that fit really well together. And I'm gonna take this pretty much all the way to the end of the ribbon this time. And the reason for that is because we're going in one direction. So the leaf could kind of cover up the end of that, but I don't have anything going the other way that's gonna cover the end of the other side. So I have to kind of bring greens and flowers all the way down to the base of the ribbon, maybe like half an inch from it. It's not a big deal when you look at it when it's on your head, because it's the back. And if you wanted to do like a full crown, this is almost the length that you need. You might want to add, like tie 2 pieces of this wire together, and then kind of like add on flowers until, and keep measuring it to see how far back. And then you can twist the wire around the back, and you wouldn't have ribbon on this. It would just be one complete flower ring around your head if you wanted to. But this is kind of a nice, easy way, a cheaper way, and I feel like a little bit less difficult if you're making crowns for like flower girls or whatnot, especially too because you can tie them tight. And if you're making a crown to fit exactly in a circle, you'd want to make sure that you had their exact head measurements. Definitely smarter to leave a little bit of extra wire in case you need to twist it and tighten it. I'm almost done here. I'm going to put in the last flower and the last few pieces of greens. I'm looking, digging around for like the perfect pieces, because you do want it to look like it's flowing, even though you don't get to make it go in the direction that you really want to at this point. And something I was saying earlier that I kind of lost my train of thought was that as you're putting in items onto the crown, you want to make sure that you're focusing them on one side, obviously, so that the flowers point forward rather than like up or down or toward the head. You can't just, I'm focusing all of the flowers I'm attaching toward the camera. And then the side that I see is mostly just wire and floral tape. And that's probably the easiest direction to work on a crown, is the way that I'm doing it rather than facing it toward you. You can always turn it around and look at it. So now you can see what I'm saying. You can obviously see the wire and stuff. Once you put it on your head, you can't see it anymore. Pretty easy to tie by yourself. And then you can actually turn it, like say that you wanted those 2 bigger flowers more toward the left of your head, you just turn it toward the left. Anyway, it's pretty simple.